Who is Kris? What is the true nature of Soul? What happened at the end of Undertale Genocide? Do your choices really matter in Deltarune? Is Kris actually the Knight of Deltarune, or is it somebody completely different? What if I told you your choices don't matter in Deltarune? I mean, how is that even possible? There's literally 2 routes in this game now. Well, my name is Cibbles, and I'm here to solve the unsolved mystery of Kris in Deltarune. If you want more Deltarune and Undertale theories like this, subscribe to the channel and like the video. It really lets me know that you guys want more of these theories. Thank you. So anyway, there's still a ton of information we don't know about Kris, and it seems that after each chapter of Deltarune, Kris just decides to get even more lore deep. There should just be an entire iceberg chart dedicated to this character, and somehow I have to squish all of this information into one unsolved video. So yeah, let's get into this. So what do we know about Kris? Well, we know they're the person we play as in Deltarune. Their name is an anagram of Frisk, but without the F. They're the only person in the entire party in Deltarune with a human soul, and that's about it. Besides the darker things like being obsessed with knives, but that doesn't matter, right? So I don't want to spend too much time going over everything we know about Kris, because for this theory to work, we need to go over different information regarding Undertale and Deltarune. So the main goal of this theory is to answer every question I said at the beginning of this video. Let's get into it. To start off this theory, we need to go over how Soul works in the Undertale series. There's a common misconception in this series that you are actually the player in the game, but that's actually rather far from the truth. Let's look at Undertale for example. You aren't actually Frisk in this game. You're simply playing as them. You didn't have any control over Frisk's actions before they woke up in the underground. Have you ever noticed how in Undertale any action you make is always labeled as you? This is because Frisk and the Soul are actually 2 different beings, intertwined together until your playthrough is done. The same can be said for Kris, although unlike Frisk, Kris doesn't seem to like your soul very much. Anyway, unlike Frisk, Kris for some reason has the ability to take out your soul at any point in time to regain control of themselves. It isn't until they put their soul back in that you can regain control. This is why you can move the soul around in the birdcage at the end of chapter 1. The soul is you, and it isn't even a new you. It isn't a fresh you. This soul is your same soul from your Undertale playthrough. Allow me to explain. Let's go back to the ending of Undertale Pacifist. Have you ever found it weird how Frisk would just make a decision to reset the entire timeline of Undertale after going through the true pacifist ending? How could somebody just make a decision like that? Ruin everybody's happiness and sometimes even launch a genocide run and kill everyone you loved? Well, that's because Frisk didn't reset the timeline. You did. Your curiosity, your peer pressure decided to do that genocide run. That's why if you do a true reset, Frisk along with everyone else has no memories of the previous timelines. But you do. Flowey isn't speaking to Frisk to reset everything. They're talking to you to let you know what action you're capable of. At the end of Undertale Genocide, the game lets you know that your choices have consequences. Everyone and everything is gone, and Kara makes an attempt to kill you, the player, but ends up killing Frisk instead. This is the point of no return, until a mysterious voice offers to restore the timeline, at a price for your soul. Wait a minute. Who is this mysterious voice? Well, that's a different story for another day. I'll cover that later. And whatever, regardless of who they are, they want your soul. So when you make the deal with them to sell them your soul, they take it and put it inside of Kris. Why? Well, that's also another story for another time. Although I already covered some of this in season 1, so I guess you could go check that out if you want. This also explains why your soul reappears after you reset the game again. A new soul is generated each time you load up the game. However, your original soul is in a completely different alternative universe, forcing the characters to make decisions they don't want, trying to become familiar with a brand new environment. When Toby Fox first released Deltarune, fans initially thought that this was a sequel to Undertale, but they realized something was off. This wasn't the Undertale universe they were in, but they thought it was. That's why decisions are prompted to talk about the Undertale canon inside of Deltarune. For example, you can say to Sans that it's nice to see him again, or talk to Undyne about Alphys. However, if this was an alternate universe, these decisions shouldn't actually be possible. Kris has never met Sans up until this point. Sans even says so himself, but you, the player, did. You've met Sans, you've had conversations with him, and you killed him in the genocide route. Your decisions don't matter in this world, yes, but Kris's decisions do. So does Susie's decisions, so does Rousey's decisions, and so does Noelle's decisions. This is why the Snowgrave route is possible. You didn't decide to freeze all those enemies. You told Kris to tell Noelle to freeze the enemies. That was ultimately Noelle's decision. She didn't have to follow Kris's command, but, well, she did it anyway. And to put the icing on the cake, at the beginning of chapter 1, Rousey says specifically that Kris's decisions matter. Never did they say that your decisions do. In the Spamton Neophyte, there's a clear difference between the words you and Kris. The worst of it all is that Noelle is the only one that can see this difference in Kris. She's known Kris her entire life, but now they're like an entirely different person. It's because they're becoming you, the player. And, well, there's still one more mystery left. Is Kris the Knight? No. Allow me to explain. The chapter 1 cliffhanger left many people confused and prompted many people to create theories on the ending. However, it all ended up being Kris just cutting out a piece of pie. I believe that the ending of chapter 2 is very similar to that aspect. I believe chapter 3 will start off with a similar joke to chapter 1. I mean, it isn't like Toby to just put it out there and make it obvious that Kris is the knight. The reason this cutscene exists is to throw people off from who the real knight is. But who is the real knight? Well, it's actually